it's so interesting to me because sales is so much like dating, right? Like when you're going on so many dates, it can feel like it's not working and you're so frustrated because you're so fixated on it and you're like almost trying to force yourself to find love. And like the world puts so much pressure on you and then you just like get to the point where you like give up, right? You're like, I am just so over this. I've been on so many bad dates. It's exhausting. I don't have time for this. And then you like focus on other things. And then like the person of your dream appears when you least expect it, right? Like most people meet the love of their life in the most random way, right? Like I even think of like me and my husband, we met, this is gonna sound really weird, but we met in a basement in high school at a Young Life event. And like, I was not looking for him. Mind you, I just went through before him something like extremely traumatic. And so I was like, I hate men. Like, I am so over them. Like, it was my senior year of high school. And then like he appeared and he was fine. He was so gorgeous and so sweet. And like, I couldn't stop thinking about him. Right. And here we are decade plus later with 2 children, right? Like I didn't think that, like I didn't go to that event being like, I'm gonna find the love of my life and have like marry him and have 2 children and build a life together, right? And so I just want to remind you of this. I want you to come back to this podcast episode anytime sales is feeling stressful, anytime you feel like you're not making the money that you want and things are not going your way, right? You're not finding the love of your life, aka dream clients, right? It can feel incredibly frustrating. And I get you. I understand it, especially like if you have a smaller following, you have limited time, like there's only so much that we can do, right? And we can't control when people are going to say yes, but we can control the 4 things I'm going to share with you today. And I'm so excited to share them with you because anytime you're feeling like it's not like you're not making the money that you desire or it feels frustrating, come back to this episode. Like truly save this episode so it can be like a little pep talk and you can be like, okay, Nellie, like the love of my life, aka dream clients, they're out there. I know it. I believe it. I'm going to go ahead and like get back out there. Okay. And I think it is important to honor your frustration. Like I don't want you to push that away, but equally, if we keep focusing on it, it's not going to solve the problem, right? So it's like, feel the feelings and then let's work to feel something else. I love when Gabrielle Bernstein says, choose again. So it's like, feel the feelings and then let's choose again and choose again and then choose again and choose something that does serve and support you and moves you in the direction that you want to go. Because if we keep sitting, wallowing in the frustration, we're not going to feel that great and we're not going to accomplish what we want to accomplish, right? And change lives. So I want to give a podcast sponsorship shout out. We are continuing the podcast sponsors, so please DM me. They're $25. I would love to have you sponsor one of the episodes. We repurpose each episode so many different ways, so it can continue to live on and you can get visibility and traffic sent your way for $25. It's like a steal, right? And we can support each other, and I think that's important. Okay, so today's podcast sponsor is Courtney Robertson. If I could talk, Courtney Robertson. Sometimes I have trouble with words, so I always pause and do it again. Okay. Courtney is thrilled to announce the launch of her new weekly devotional series, Poise and Promises, where faith meets style. The unique devotional is designed to inspire and uplift you as you navigate through the ups and downs of life, offering guidance and encouragement based on timeless spiritual truths and incorporating elements of style and fashion. Ooh, that sounds so fun. She has a link for you to sign up for that, so I will make sure that is in the show notes for you. But please follow her on social. You will not regret it. Courtney is just such a breath of fresh air. Like truly, everyone that sponsors this podcast is like so fun and uplifting and just wants to do good in the world, which is why we're going to do today's episode, because sales is about serving. And when you can solve enough problems for enough people, you will be a very wealthy woman. Just because it has not happened yet, does not mean that it won't happen. And I think that's really important to remind yourself of, like, it can and will happen if you say so. So let's get into the 4 different ways that you can boost sales. Again, all 4 of these you can control. Okay. So number 1 is your mindset. All day, every day. When I focus on my mindset, I am a whole different human, right? So this can be working through your money blocks, right? This can be journaling. This can be saying money affirmations. This can be like, I even think mindset is like personal development because it gets you in the right mindset. So listening to money books, going through and working through your money mindset, right? So this could be like balancing your books for your business, paying your taxes, paying off a credit card, right? Like doing things from a money mindset standpoint helps elevate your frequency to another higher level, which bigger, better dream clients are operating at higher frequencies. So that means we got to make sure that you're an energetic match for them. And it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but the more we work on you, I literally say this in almost every podcast episode because I wholeheartedly believe it. The more you work on your brain, your belief system, your limiting beliefs, your money blocks, anything stopping you, slowing down, holding you back, right? It's got to go, right? It's got to go, right? It's got to go. It's just like going literally we're going to talk about poop. Like everyone poops, right? Like can you imagine if you never pooped in your whole life? Like, we're going to get real personal on podcast here. A lot of times when I go on trips, I don't know if anyone else has this, but like my whole body gets like out of its routine, out of whack. I then like start to feel yucky and bloated. And I'm just like, oh, like this feels awful, right? This is the equivalent analogy to like not working on your mindset. You feel like shit, right? It's because you're full of shit in your head. And I don't mean like full of shit like you don't believe yourself, but like you feel yucky, you feel bloated, you feel blah, right? Like you don't want to do anything. So we've got to literally do the mindset work, clear the sludge, right? Clear all of that yuckiness. And how we do that is so many different ways, like I mentioned, right? You can do this listening to podcast episodes. You can do this listening to books, reading books, hiring a therapist to work through childhood trauma. Truly, like it matters. It truly does matter. Doing courses and masterminds and programs and going to conferences. I don't believe you can do enough mindset work. Now we get to also take like inspired action that is like income producing activities, but too often we're doing so much of that and very little mindset work. And what's interesting, if you actually did way more mindset work and like just a little bit of action, it would actually land better because you're in a better, higher frequency. Okay. Try it for like 90 days, right? If you invested more in your mindset, in your belief system, works through limiting beliefs, builds your confidence, over 90 days, you would see results. And why I like 90 days is because 30 days goes so fast. And I believe you're going to like need time to like, get up and running, get momentum, all of those things. But when you do this for 90 days, you will see a significant difference. People will start to feel a significant difference in you, right? It is your thoughts in your head. It is the words that you say. And then the 3 other ways are walking the walk, okay? So we've got to like think and believe and say the things that are going to get you to your wealthiest life. Then we walk the walk, okay? So let's go into the other ones. Number 2 is, and I did say easy, and you're probably like, Nellie, mindset work is not easy. Okay. I get you. Like, it's not necessarily easy, but it's going to make everything else easier. And when you start to feel the relief, you don't feel like you're carrying 1,000,000 pounds around. So it may be like hard for just a teensy little bit, and then it will feel better. I used to roll my eyes at people when they talked about mindset work. So if you're in that space, I totally get it. I totally get it. I'm not even gonna like try to convince you. Be there for a moment, and then like when no one's watching, work on your mindset, and you don't even have to tell me. But you can call it mindset, you can call it personal growth, you can call it healing, you can call it energetics. Like, the name can change, but it all results to your brain at the end of the day. Our brain is a very complicated part of our body, and therefore it needs a lot of tender love and care. Okay, so number 2 is a lot easier. But if you don't do number 1, it won't be so easy. Number 2 is increasing your pricing. So just today, I was working on my sales plan for this summer, and I ran different pricing numbers. And it was interesting to me. I don't have my notebook that I was working in. It's in the other room. But it was interesting to me. By just raising my pricing from my first pricing idea to my second pricing idea, it over time is going to create thousands of dollars, like tens of thousands of dollars every month of a difference. And I'm like, that's big. That's big. By just raising it by like $11 for like a consumer, right? But it's the compound effect. Like when Starbucks raises their prices by like 10 cents, you don't really feel the difference, right? But the company reaps the rewards because how much volume that they're doing, it drastically impacts their bottom line by doing the same amount of work, right? So I do want you to increase your pricing, but if we don't work on our mindset, it's probably going to be terrifying to do this. I work with women all the time on this. I was even with some of my top clients not too long ago, and these women that are like powerhouses were like, I don't know if I can like increase my pricing. I'm like, okay, let's work through this, right? It is a confidence level to like work through, right? But what I do believe is when you run your numbers, like I mentioned before, you're like, okay, when you can see the numbers and you're like, I'm doing the same amount of work, but I'm like increasing my bottom line by $10,000 a month. That's over $100,000 in a year. What could I do with an additional $100,000, right? Like, that's ad money. That's another team member. That's like my dream home, right? Like, I'm not even going to be ashamed to say something for my personal life, right? And I'm doing the same amount of work, and it's a very valuable work, and it's still super affordable for what I'm launching, right? So I always do this, and I want to look at it and feel into it. Now, if I would have ran those numbers and I didn't feel aligned with like what I was offering and what's happening in the world and like all of those things, then I may have not felt as good about it. But I ran the numbers, and with the increase, I felt so good. It was still an absolute win-win. And like, people have to, like, we get to remind ourselves, it takes money to run a business, whether it's your time or somebody else's on your team. It takes so much time and energy. So you're probably under charging right now. So we've got to get the prices up. And I would rather you increase your pricing and just like rip the Band-Aid off. Now, if you don't have control over your pricing, then what I would say to that is like, okay, then we've got to up your volume so that you're still taking more home. Because the whole goal of price increases is that, one, we're more profitable, right? And equally, you can take more home. Okay, like the business always gets to be benefiting the CEO, which is you. Okay. So number 3 is spend more time with dream clients. Now, this can be current dream clients. It can be future dream clients, right? This last summer, so about a year ago, I did several breakfast meetups with people I energetically felt so called to. Now, when I went to these breakfasts, I was genuinely excited to go and just spend time with them. And what is so interesting about this is one breakfast in particular is now like one of my dream clients. There's 2 of them. They're partners. And that breakfast, we just like, it was almost like it was a coaching session, right? Without being a coaching session. And I'm very careful about that. But Like at the end of the day, like you can't take the coach out of this, however that saying works, right? Like I can't not do it. Like it's just genuinely, I want to help people, whether I'm getting paid or not. I know it's going to come back to me because that's karma, right? So I do keep a really solid balance and boundary there, but like I've known them for a while. Like I was just like, we were on a topic and they're like, what do you think? I'm not going to hold back, right? I'm not going to be like, well, here's my Venmo, like go ahead and send me money. That's not how business works, right? So we were just like working through one of the problems that they had and they're like, we need to hire you. And I can't tell you how many times this has happened over my 5+ years. Like this happened even in a nonprofit organization when I just spent time genuinely with people, which I know does take time and energy, but this can be virtual coffees. This can be you're going to a networking event and you invite a dream client to go with you, right? Like there's so many ways that we can make time for this and make it beneficial. But like that one breakfast yielded $25,000 plus so much more, right? And I wasn't going into the breakfast like they better, sign up with me. I just genuinely like to be around them, right? And that is a dream client in my opinion. Like genuinely, energetically, I'm so excited to be around them. When they pay me to be a client, like for them to be a client of mine, I can just be around them more, right? Because there's only so many hours in the day. And I can't give it to everyone that I want to give it to every single day of every single week, right? So clients get a lot of my time because I am a working mom, right? So during work hours, I am working. So therefore I am with clients. And so this is why I always tell people like, I will always support you. I will always cheer you on. Just when you're a client, I'm able to do it more. Like, and energetically that feels good because there's an energetic exchange, right? And so there's nothing wrong with it. So spend more time with dream clients. Watch the magic happens. I always bonus things to my current dream clients too, because I want to spend more time with them. I want them to get more and more results. So I spend a lot of time with them as well, doing extra things that I never promised that I would do, genuinely because I want to do it. And equally, I know it's going to help them get results, which then is going to help everyone win. Right? So spend more time with dream clients and watch the magic happen. Like it's so good. And the last one is focus most of your sales time on the number one sales activity. So you get to sit with this last one because it is going to take some thought process of what activity in your business actually yields results. So this might be more of a marketing activity that yields sales, but marketing and sales are very, very similar, which can confuse people. But here's the thing. We should only be marketing to help you make money, right? Like, does Target spend a shitload of money on advertisement to do it? No, there's PR campaigns to put brand recognition out there, but that's a whole different strategy. So most of your marketing should be to help drive conversions, meaning sales, right? We're not just out here on social to be out here on social. There gets to be strategy. And so it can get confusing in people's brains because they're like, well, I'm just supposed to market who I am and what I do. And it's there's gotta be more strategy there. So sales really is the most important thing. And then we use marketing as a tool, a vehicle to help the conversion rates. No one's going to go on a sales page. No one's going to book a sales call without marketing, right? I hope that lands with you and makes sense to you. So marketing is the traffic source, right? The vehicle to help the sales actually happen, right? Somehow, some way, someone has to get to your sales page, right? And it can be word of mouth, but we can't control word of mouth. So marketing, indirectly or directly marketing. So marketing indirectly would be mass marketing, right? That would be your reels, your live videos, your, maybe you're at events and you're getting to know people. So it's a little bit more indirect. Direct marketing is you are literally sending a targeted email to somebody, targeted ads, right? DMing, right? So this is more you're focusing on one human. It may duplicate from there, but like it's targeting one human at a time, right? And there's more data involved with it. So we've got to make sure we have indirect marketing and direct marketing, of course. I'm getting a little nerdy, but so with all the different marketing activities that you're doing, I really, really, really want you to pinpoint which one, if you could only pick one, is actually yielding the most results, meaning it's booking the most sales calls with you. It's getting the people to respond to you. It's getting the people to literally like ask you more questions about your offer, right? So for me, all day, every day, live video is where it's at for me. It has built my business to over $1 million by doing live video. It's the craziest thing to me, but it works every day, every day, every day. It works, and works, and works, and works, right? Now, there are so many other things, but that is like the main driver of my business. So I make the most time for it. Like people think I'm crazy when I say we put out 5 podcast episodes every single week. They're repurposed live videos. So that's a lot of content, right? And because these aren't like short videos, like these are action packed. But here's the thing, just like the experience at the breakfast spot with the person that like has yielded over $25,000 annually, video is how I'm able to do that more on a massive scale. If you watch or listen to one podcast episode and you're like, holy shit, that just solved all like my biggest problem, or that just made me so much money, right? You're going to want more. And so posts are great. Transformational stories are great. Like all these other marketing activities that I do, reels, etc. They're all amazing, but you can really get to know me on a podcast episode to really know like, okay, I really want her to be my coach. Ironically enough, this past week, I had a dream client slide into my DMs all on her own. And she was like, oh my gosh, I saw one of your pieces of content this morning and I just knew it was a sign and I'm ready to hire you as my coach. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And this is, mind you, somebody that had a sales call with 3 years ago, right? And I've just stayed in her world, right? I'm a very patient human, ironically enough, because I have 2 kids and I have ADHD. It doesn't make sense to me. But when it comes to like people and their transformation, I really am proud to say like I'm super patient. I get excited for people, which can like, I'm getting a little toasty here, so we may strip on the podcast. So I get excited for people. And so I might, get excited and, want them to sign up right now because I'm genuinely excited for them. But with that being said, I am very patient. Like I'm not going to like write somebody off if they're not ready to sign up, because I also know when you like say yes, and it comes from like a very like aligned space, you are truly, truly, truly a dream client. Okay. So I need you to like pinpoint what is that number one marketing activity that is yielding results for you already? Because can you imagine when you do it more, right? And you love it so much and you do more of it, sales 101 is whatever you're putting in is what you get out, right? So more of my videos getting out to more people, we, put videos on ads. There's so many spin-off things that we do with my videos. And we do it because it's the number one activity. So what is your number one activity and how can you do it and 10x it and also get it to more people, right? So it's not the actual conversion piece, like, well, sales calls are my conversion. Well, we need something before that to help get you booking more sales calls. Does that make sense? So it's like the thing before the thing, right? So like no one, like rarely does somebody like watch my video and then like drops $10,000 with me. It doesn't work that way. But I'm so consistent with my video. So the more somebody watches more and more of my videos on their own time, right? I'm not having to go to all those breakfast meetings, right? So they're warming themselves up throughout the process, which timing is one of the most important things when it, like in my world, like coaching and mentorship, like timing aligned with the opportunity is the most important thing, and timing on their end, right? So they may have a program that they're finishing, right? They may have just had a baby. They may be like working through mindset blocks and they're not ready to hire a coach one-on-one yet, or whatever else I'm offering. So timing and opportunity are like where they get to intersect, and I can't control those things, but I can control me showing up and continuing to hold space for them, even in a podcast episode, right? Because it can feel like I'm talking just to you, and that's very intentional, right? So it's still the thing before the thing, because I booked 2 sales calls for this coming week with amazing human beings because I'm showing up, right? And I don't believe it's just video, but it is amazing because then someone can like go binge watch a bunch of my videos and they're already sold before I even spend direct time with them. Like, is this landing with you? Are you getting it? Right? Now, depending on your industry and what you do and how much time you have, we get to figure out all of these things, but I make the most time for live video because of these reasons. I'm not as consistent with Reels, right? I would like to get to that eventually, but it's not the main driver of my business. So I don't prioritize it, and I also don't stress about it, right? Like, they're fun to do. I like them. They're amazing, especially if someone doesn't know me so well. They're probably not going to spend 20 minutes hanging out with me on a podcast episode yet. It's not as normal, right? As where they may watch like a 30-second like reel of mine. So I will be incorporating more of those, right? We do giveaways. I'm in other Facebook groups. There's so many other marketing activities that I do. So it's not to say that you don't do those other things. You just don't stress about them. I want you to, I don't want to say stress about it, but I want you to put the most of your attention into the number one activity, and then everything else is a want to, right? The number one thing is like, oh no, like this is the absolute most important thing that I do when it comes to marketing, so that way it can lead to more sales, right? And you can play with this number and start tracking it and really see what this does for your business. And I love future casting, meaning like, oh my gosh, like if I got 2 sales calls this week, like I love to like play games. Like, I wonder if I could get, 3 or 4 sales calls. I could also start literally talking about booking sales calls, right? So once you like start seeing like once you start working on the thing before the thing, then we start working on the actual thing, right? So let me talk about this and then I'll be done here. Hopefully you're sticking with me on this. So we worked on the thing before the thing. Now let's work on the thing. Meaning, if I'm booking people on sales calls and that is working so well, right? If I book people on 10 sales calls and 8 people say yes, right? That is a high conversion rate. So that's the actual sales activity that I want to drive more traffic to. So then we use all of our marketing avenues to drive traffic to that thing, okay? So on every single live video, meaning podcast episode, that could be my call to action. Every email that we send out, we could have a little blurb, book a call here, right? To talk to Nellie about working with her one-on-one or whatever it may be. And that thing can change. So if I'm doing a bigger program that's more of like a membership, maybe it's a webinar, right? A masterclass, whatever you call it, but they're all the same things, right? A webinar or masterclass is almost like a sales call, but just with a group, right? Because we're really wanting to work through mindset shifts. We're wanting to like give them a win. We're wanting to invite them to the next step. So it really is still a sales call, just not one-on-one, right? So we want to work on what is that main marketing activity, and then like where are we driving people to, and then have all marketing efforts go to that one thing. So if this doesn't make sense to your brain, feel free to reach out to me. I know it can be a little complicated when you hear it and you're like, okay, I'm trying to make sure I understand this. So feel free to reach out to me. I really want this to feel simple to you and not stressful. So it may just take your brain a second to like click it into place, and that is totally okay. I've been there. but don't overcomplicate this and play with it. Like, you can change this up. There's no wrong way to do this. I just want you making more money. And so we've got to be in this more, right? Input equals output. So when we're doing the thing before the thing more, and then we're yielding more results to the actual sales activity, right? And we start to see the momentum, you're going to be so much more motivated to market your business. If you're not excited to market your business right now, go back to the mindset piece, right? Visualize what you want. Let's build some affirmations into your day. Like, all of these things make a huge difference. Listen to a money book. Like, I can't talk enough about how important mindset is. And so 2 through 4 won't land as beautifully if we don't work on our mindset. Okay. So I want to revise, or summarize, I should say, what the 4 things are. So number 1 is mindset, mindset, mindset. You can call it healing. You can call it growth. You can call it personal development. It's all the same stuff. Okay. So whatever word or phrase feels good to you, let's use it, but it's being your best self, right? It's being your best self so you can be the best CEO and it can actually feel good, right? Number 2 is increase your prices and, literally play with those numbers. Number 3 is spend more time with dream clients, whether they're future or current dream clients. And number 4 is focus on the number 1 sales activity. So this is like a 2-parter. What's that main marketing activity and what is the main sales activity so they can work together, right? And then any and all of your other marketing activities go to the sales activity that you want it to, like a sales call, right? So super excited for you. I hope this supports you in making more money because that's always my goal and I just can't wait for you. All right. I love you so much. You're amazing.